Greetings and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are talking about doulas, and we are talking about questions to ask a doula, and that is, of course, if you even believe you need a doula. It's okay if you think you don't, but if you need, some information on as to the benefits of a doula, you may want to check out my YouTube clip. What are the benefits of a doula? That said, we're going to go ahead and get into those questions that one can ask to make sure that a doula is right for you. So, first and foremost, I am a certified doula, and we'll get into how I became a doula in a little bit. But I have had the benefit of having birth workers and community women, and my mom, just powerful women with me while I have birthed my children. It hasn't always been the same person consistently or same people consistently, but it has been, and it made a world of difference. I have also had the experience of having a doula one time. It was an okay experience for me, but it wasn't the worst. But had I known some questions to ask, I would not have had certain things that had transpired with this doula. Anyway, that said, here are my questions today for some questions that you can ask doulas when you meet them so that you can see if they work best for you. So first and foremost, I'm going to start off with asking the doula, what agency did they train with? What agency certified them? Okay, so there's a few different agencies out there that certify doulas. The agency that certified me is a local agency where I am in Baltimore, Maryland, called Birthwell. So I got my certification with the Birthwell doula services. And there's plenty of others. So you have DONA and you have ICTC, and I have, when you Google in doula trainings and stuff like that, in your search engine, a list of doula agencies pop up. And so I've seen a list of doula agencies. I can't remember all of them. DONA sticks out to me, and ICTC, because they are very popular. So just ask your doula, who did they receive their certification from. Okay. So that's the first question. The second question is, you can ask, what inspired you to become a doula? All right, so now I can talk about why I'm a doula. So what inspired me to become a doula was my experience with a birth worker, a midwife. Long time ago, years ago, with my third birth. This midwife was phenomenal. She was. Every time I think about that birth, that moment, she was amazing. She was encouraging. She was welcoming to my ideas and how I wanted to birth. She was not controlling at all. She informed me of what I could do and all those kinds of things. She played music for me. She was awesome. And because of that experience, I said to myself, I want to help women who are in my predicament. And I'll get into that in a minute, what my predicament was. But I was like, I want to help women who are in my predicament to feel just the way she helped me feel. And pretty much what my predicament was is that I was in a birthing center, birthing my youngest son. And I was concerned. I had him a little early, not too early, but just a little early. I was concerned. I was, going through my surges. And, pretty much when a woman is going through her surges, her contractions, she's going within, she's kind of tuning stuff out, all that kind of stuff, to cope with bringing forth, the challenges of bringing forth life. And the charge nurse that I had, she was just horrible, you know, and just saying some not so good things. She was not very respectful of my wishes and all those kind of things. And when that midwife came in, she did all of that. You know what I'm saying? And it was just a beautiful experience from that point on. And that is the reason why I became a birth worker, because of her. So because I knew she was a midwife, my first thought was, I want to become a midwife. So I did my research, but I never pursued it. When I moved here to Baltimore, Maryland, and I had the privilege of birthing my last 2 children in my home with a midwife, you know, after talking with my midwife, you know, I told her I was interested in becoming a midwife. She told me, get your start as a doula. You know, start off as a doula, you know, see how that goes. I took her advice. I became a doula. And this is what inspired me to become a doula. Okay, so learn the story of your doula. Why did they get into, you know, being a doula? All right, next you will want to ask them, let me see. Will you be able to determine your course of birth experience? And what I mean by that is, will you be in charge? Because this is your birth. So this was one of the challenges that I had with the doula I had, which was she wasn't mean or anything like that. But it was certain ways that when I give birth, there's certain things that I have that I do, that I don't do, that I am okay with, not okay with. And for a little while, she was bent on doing things her way. And she was new. She was actually in training. But, you know, one of the things that we learned, or I know I learned in my training, is that it's not about you controlling the situation. It's about the mom and the baby and the father, you know, determining the destiny of that experience, especially the mom, you know, and the baby. So my thing is making sure that the doula will respect the course of how you want your birthing experience to go, you know. So that's very important, that you'll be respected in that manner. Not saying that your birth will go totally how you plan, because things happen, you know. But just that you are respected, that you can write out a birth plan, and you can feel confident that as much as possible what's on that birth plan, you know, she will not deviate from that. So that's it. That's important. Another question to ask is, do you have children? Now, does a doula have to have children? No. You can have a doula that does not have any children, and they could still be the best doula. Okay? But for me, the reason why that's something that's important, but it's not something that I am solid on, like you have to have children. But to me, that's kind of like an indicator of, okay, she may know what I'm going through more so than a doula who does not have a child. And when I say what I'm going through, I'm not just talking about during the birthing experience, but throughout the whole experience, the whole journey. From the time you conceive, if you have the doula, you know, before you have conceived, because you can get a doula when you're thinking about conceiving. But from the time you conceive, you know, through the whole journey up into the birthing experience and everything, you know, if she has children, she may be able to better relate to you and understand you. So that's another question. You can also ask her, what is her philosophy on birth? That's another great question to ask, to see how does she view birth? How does she look at birth? Like for me, I look at birth as being a natural, sacred, spiritual experience. Physical too. I have like millions of alarms on my phone to remind me and to remind my children to do things. But yeah, so my philosophy is that we women, we can birth our children, because we live in a society where we are being taught, and it might not be very noticeable, but in strategic ways, we're being taught or shown that birthing is not natural, that it is scary, that we can't do this. And that's the total opposite. So my belief is that birthing is natural. We can do this. We've been doing it for thousands and thousands of years. And we're going to continue to do it because we are the ones that, we're the gatekeepers. We're the ones that allow, our children to come through. So it is something that is very natural and can be done and will be done. And so that is, my philosophy. So learn your doula's philosophy on birth. How do they view birth, And then the last question that I have is, how many births have you attended? That's a question to ask. Now, if your doula has not attended many births, that doesn't mean that she's not going to be a great doula, because everybody has to get their start somewhere. But that kind of gives you a gauge of who you're working with and all that kind of stuff. Do you feel comfortable if she has not attended a lot of births? Especially maybe if this is your first birthing experience. I don't know. But do you feel comfortable if she hasn't attended a lot of births? Do you want her to have attended a lot of births? Or what kind of births have she attended? Have they been hospital births, birthing centers, or home births? What's important to you? So, that being said, those are some questions that I came up with as to what you can utilize to, vet a doula to see if the doula is right for you. Of course, there's so many questions out there that you can ask, and of course, you know yourself better than anyone. So come up with questions that you know are important to you and ask those doulas those questions and see what you get, and see which doula resonates with your spirit. And you go for that doula. So that said, I hope that this video was beneficial, that you got some great questions out of this video to ask your doula, and then that you have a successful pregnancy journey and birthing experience and all that kind of stuff. Until the next video, peace.